Hello, everyone, and happy Saturday morning. We hope that you are having a fantastic day so far. This is the Saturday stream from Elevate Equity, and my name is Derek Clifford. I'm the CEO and founder of Elevate Equity, and today we are going to be talking about some pretty important stuff that gets overlooked a lot of times. But just to remind everyone, this is a very, very important subject that we're going to be talking about today. It is going to be how to get off on the right foot in talking with some of your vendors, your contractors, your property managers, your agents, all those different folks that are involved with you and is part of your team in the real estate biz. Okay. So first, we're going to start off with why this is important. So really quickly, good people really, truly only want to work with other good people. And real estate investing is a team sport. So it's very hard for you to do everything yourself because even your tenants are people. And so when you're working with tenants, unless you're paying yourself, you've got to bring in other people. And so it's a people-based business, okay? And what I like to say is that trust is a leverage multiplier in getting things done. Because if you have trust with your property manager or your agent or your lender or something, you just trust that these people are going to take care of what needs to be taken care of in order to get something done. So that's why this is so important, is that when you have trust, you have a multiplier, you have leverage, you're able to get things done quicker, more efficiently, and you have to make less decisions. So as long as you're partnering with the right people, getting off on the right foot to attract the best people to work with is going to be how you're going to scale up your portfolio very quickly. So before we get started here, I know this may seem a little bit corny or whatever, but there are some overall tips that you can take whenever you're interviewing or making try to make a good first impression on your potential vendors and partners, okay? So the first tip is you only get one first impression, okay? So be open and listen to them. And if you can, treat them to lunch or dinner. And if you're willing or able to, take them out for, something that they enjoy doing if you're able to find out, right? And then also number two, bring your spouse if possible. If you do, that shows commitment and adds an extra dimension when you're working with some of these folks that you're a family person, okay? Because if you bring your spouse, there's an extra benefit that you can have, which is being able to tell whether or not the person is lying, or the other person in your relationship, if you're bringing your spouse with you, may have better intuition or spidey senses. And so they can tell right from the get-go whether or not this person is good to work with or not, okay? Number three, add as much value as you can to them first. Now, sometimes when you're just getting to know people, there's not much that you know about them and they're not really publicly, knowledged online. There's not too much about them out online. So you can just do some decent things that you would do to show your appreciation for their time, to spend time with you. So that might be, as I mentioned before, taking them out to lunch or dinner, or bringing them a small gift or something like that that's appropriate from the place that you're from. That really gives the other person the extra impression that you are thinking of them. And that really helps accelerate some of this trust. Okay, so that's a really good thing too. You can also, in addition to treating them to lunch, you can send them an article or two beforehand of like, hey, I saw this and just thought of you and looking forward to meeting you. Doing something creative like that just gives the extra impression that you're thinking about them, right? That's good. The second thing, or the last thing that I was going to mention, is getting referrals. So this is huge, right? If you have an investor friend who's already got an established relationship with this person that you're about to reach out to, and that person there will most likely be more than willing to lend their credibility from you to them. Okay. And then that way, having that warm lead and having that one connection in common will give you an extra discussion point for you to be able to discuss once you're sitting with that person. So those four things: be open and listen, treat them to lunch and dinner, bring your spouse if possible, and then add as much value to them as first as you can, and then get referrals. Those four things on relationship skills will generally help you get a little bit further along the track and help ease some of the initial inertia and friction that you may end up feeling, okay? Now, what to do prior to meeting with some of these folks, right? So the first thing that I have to recommend to you is do your homework and understand what you're going to want from them, okay? Have 4 to 6 questions, maybe a handful of questions in mind that you can use to lead the conversation. If you know that you're a fluid conversationalist, right, then maybe scale that down a little bit and just use your questions that you have as conversational points. And if you end up hitting it off with the other person, then questions will naturally flow if you are prepared and you've done your homework, right? So just use those 4 to 6 questions as prompts and ask a lot of follow-up questions if the other person is willing to listen to those and answer them. Okay. Prior to the meeting, try to use terminology and vocabulary. So study their terms. Use words like, for instance, you would use turns or margin or crew sizes when you're talking with contractors. So you want to know what that terminology is. If you're talking with a broker or an agent, you want to use the words or the terms value add, cap rates, ARV, things like this that show that the person you're working with is not going to be wasting their time in talking with you. So study up on those terms and just have a few of them in hand so that you know that when the time is right, you can mention those so that it appears like you have some really good knowledge when you're bringing to the table. Okay. And then the third thing that you can do prior to meeting is get ready to take action before you meet with them. So for instance, if you're working with a broker or an agent, make sure you have enough cash in the bank to be able to actually take action on what is it you're going to do when you're meeting with them. Okay. So make sure that you're ready for that prior to meeting. Now, when you're at the meeting, okay, this is a few things that you got to do. I know it's common sense, but I shouldn't be having to mention this, but I am. Please be on time. So leave 15 to 30 minutes early before needing to be there if you're having an on-site meeting, to meet them there on time or early. Nothing starts things off on the wrong foot more than if you are late for the meeting itself. So please make sure you're on time and be there. That's a great thing to really kind of show an intangible that you're reliable and there's someone you can trust. Okay. And then number 2 is, while at the meeting, ask about their personal life first and greet them when you first see them with a warm smile, and be curious about this other human being that you may end up partnering with. Try to learn as much as you can about them to a reasonable extent, and just enjoy, the conversation. Just enjoy who they are as a person, and find it interesting, or find something interesting about them, so that when you end up leaving the meeting, you can send them a note saying, hey, this was really cool and thank you for that. And you can connect on some level that you really like. Okay. And then number 3, smile when appropriate, listen intently, and respond to what they say, not to what you want to say. So this is really an art form, and it took me many years to perfect this. But honestly, if you're in a relationship, you should have some sense of what I'm talking about. Trying to be present and curious is the basic thing while you're at this meeting, understanding that you do have some business objectives, but all those questions can be answered much later on. When you're FaceTime with the person, right? You want to build the trust and see if they're even like you, or if they even want to be with you on this journey. Okay. And so you can always ask technical questions to help kind of prompt, what it is that they do and everything, and weed out whether or not you want to continue moving forward with this person. But that can always be asked after the fact, via phone or via email, once you actually establish credibility with the person and they know who you are. Okay. And then the last thing is take notes if need be. And especially if in an office setting, that may show the other person that you're really serious and that you're taking notes and you really want to understand what's going on. And then, of course, if the person's informal, just follow their lead, right? Like if they really like to joke around a little bit, then try to joke back with them. If they end up going into politics, then maybe follow them in that route at your own peril. But basically, let them decide what they're comfortable with, right? Your whole situation here is to make them feel trusted, because you want to be a good team player and you want to have that trust with them so that you both can accelerate to newer heights. Okay. So that's what I have, and I hope that this was useful to you guys. I wanted to make sure that you got some of this info, because it's really great to take some of these tips and use them to build relationships, because our relationships are everything when we're building in our real estate portfolio. Okay. So if you guys really enjoyed this, please click the link in the description, and that'll take you to a place where you can learn about the 7 ways that real estate can help preserve and grow your passive income and your net worth over time. And it's a really great product, and we're really happy with what we've been able to do with it, and it has helped inspire a lot of people. And if that's not enough, head over to our website at elevateequity.org and see all the stuff that we are doing on our podcast, these other Saturday streams, our blog articles. There's tons of stuff out there for you to learn more about this whole game that is real estate investing, or if you just want to further your game, or maybe even partner with some great people like us over here at Elevate Equity on our next investment. So hopefully that was useful to you, and I'm going to keep this short and sweet and let you guys have the rest of your weekend back. So this is Derek Clifford. I'm signing off from Elevate Equity, and you guys have a fantastic weekend.